Well, hello, my friends. It is Ben here from Second Dynasty. It is a Friday, which means it is time to start looking at what we've done this week and maybe doing something new as well. Friday of week 3 of 2025, third episode of the season. And I thought today we would do something a little bit differently. At least project-wise, because I have a kind of silly project that I may or may not get up off the ground, depending, and I just realized I need to close off my email and I need to close off my Dropbox notifications or they're going to start popping up during the stream, so let's get rid of that. The time kind of snuck up on me, so how's everyone going in the chat? Let's see who we got here today. We've got Blasted is here, Doug is here, Clive, Derivative Content, Jaren. Let's see, we've got Anders, Shergle's here, Brian's here, Clive, I already mentioned, right? And Tamsin, yeah, hello. And of course, Albin is in the background.
Woo!
It's just the two of us now today,
Yes,
and in fact we're kind of starting showing off Albin's stuff, although this scene does require a little bit of softening. So this is a work in progress of the Sword Worlds APC. I haven't seen the most recent iteration here, but you can kind of see the armaments as they are on the exterior. So a nice little, you can kind of see some imported artwork of the inspiration. Now the question is, what do we have on the inside? So there's a little bit of a plan there of the interior. Is this the planned interior?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just have a little bit of difference in the seats. They're going to be fixed in place, but they look like they're supposed to fold out, for example. So you could turn this into a cargo vehicle.
Pew pew pew.
What? Oh, you wanted to show off the turret?
Yes,
So-
I just printed it.
Albin just freshly printed this, so this is hot off the press. Let me switch to our close-up camera, which really sucks. So this is it.
It's so chunky.
Yeah, enjoy. It does look kind of cool, though, I have to admit.
Thank you.
Alright. And whilst we've got the camera up, we may as well show and tell. The Astron is now fully prototyped. Is it released too? I think it is,
Yeah.
right?
It should be available.
It should be available. You can take the top off and we have an interior. So there's the Imperial interior. And of course the rear door folds in two directions, much like our old APC. So this is kind of like it uses the quote unquote Imperial tank base. So yeah, if you read between the lines, the Astron's supposed to be built on the Trepidator platform. So this is the base of the old style tank. So kind of like a hybrid of between what the Mongoose Astron is and this version. So really, the great thing about vehicles is they don't have maps. So we do have a little bit more leeway. And then the last thing I want to show off is something that I'm very proud and excited about. I have to be careful here. It's this thing. And anyone who tuned in last week would know that this is supposed to be my version of Gripen. I'm not going to say the Gripen because Gripen means the Griffin. So it would be like saying an ATM machine,
Oh yeah.
which would be automatic teller machine. You can see there the torpedo, which is correctly sized and weighted for 1/3 of a D-ton. You can see the weapons there, compatible with our other weapon systems. These are straight off the original design. But otherwise, you know, it's got a single engine, big, powerful rocket. And basically, I kind of started to describe this thing as not a dive bomber, but a climb bomber. So the idea being that it goes up into orbit, drops off its ordnance, and tries to get rid of, I guess, larger transport ships before they can actually drop their load of invading forces. I really like how this came along. And then I showed it to Matthew from Mongoose, and he's like, this kind of diverges a little too much from the Gripen. And I was like, oh, here we go. And then he said, but it's all cool. We'll just make it a new ship for the Sword Worlds. So the long and short of it is, the new name for the ship is Korpen, which means the Raven. And I think, considering the beak of it, we'll look in the project files a little closer now that we've shown off this. So this should be done probably early next week. So let me just open up now my...
Oh, what do you think about the different rear ends, by the way?
Oh, hang on. Let me cancel. Oh, you have some options here. Okay, I think that's a little too far. I'm a bit worried that you've done this in work time. But you can actually see here, I forgot to mention that it actually has the P984 in runes on the side. Just a nice little detail there. So we were joking about making the chairs like a longboat, so that they're actually, some rows on the sides there, but it's not practical in military terms. So, let's try and open the Gripen here. Oh, I guess the Korpen, not the Korpen. So you can kind of see it looks pretty cool. The renders for this thing are, they look even better. It's just a case of, so this scene currently is set up for the lighting, but for example, if you wanted to get this front view, maybe, I might be getting a bit cheeky here. Let's see. Hopefully the stream doesn't jump, but we need to have a render view over here. So this is more like what it looks like when we're rendering it. Let me know if the stream is getting choppy. It shouldn't be, because this is GPU rendering. I'm trying to speak in Swedish all of a sudden.
I thought you were trying to say reindeer.
And this was to the point that if Matthew was going to turn around and say this is too far off, I was just going to say, that's okay. We'll do your new one, and then just sell this anyway as its own thing. So you can kind of see some of the updates. I've probably got the settings a bit too high here. Audio is struggling. Okay. Alright, we will not do any more rendering, but you kind of get an impression of what it looks like. The nose I had to change a bit because we were having some printing issues. And actually, I just... Oh, did I remember to update this thing? I'm working on an update here. You can see we've got 3 different iterations already. That'll come out later today. But, there we go. I forgot to save. But right this second, I just did a final update of Korpen. And I hope it's the final update anyway. Because I did notice that the cockpit top thing was going down a bit too far, so there's too much of a gap, so it created more of a gap. And also, yeah, I think we've got it to a point where it'll print great. I also, I could do instructions, but quite honestly, it comes together very easily. Korpen is power, but still beating hard. Someone you murdered. Okay. Anyway. I love how this thing ended up looking, considering, what I was starting with. And, I think it's the best of both worlds that this becomes its own thing. because it means officially we have our first official mongoose design under our belt. Although I feel like I said that before. I can't think exactly what it is, but yeah, that's where we are with this. And then I also just wanted to, let's see, do I need to save anything? We'll do it anyway. I also created this scene. Oh, Doug, you were joking about the audio? Let's see, this scene will take a little bit longer, but I wanted to line up all of the miniatures we have so far of stretch goals. Some of them are not released yet. I realized, we've got our sword wielders out. I think they look really cool. Speaking of space Vikings.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't seen those sculpts before.
In the next row, we've got our security personnel, and if you join our Discord, you can see some great paint jobs on these guys, done by Mon Capitan. We have Governor Shijabajabra. I cannot pronounce his name. The beard, compared to the art, he does look like more of a suave, darker-skinned fellow. But the beard has the geometry it has just so it will actually translate into a miniature. And we have two poses. We have the one from the book, which is kind of like speaking to a crowd. And then we have the mentalist. Of course, anyone high up in the Zodani consulate it has psychic powers, psionics. Here we have the female noble in two poses. These ones were done by John. I think he's coming along very, very nicely. And we also have this warbot, the small version. That was done by Mikael, our last intern before Cornelia. So the model is basically done. It just needs to be put together and made printable. That part might be easier said than done, but it will be, resin, so not so bad. So either Alvin or John get that honor. Then we have our Darians, or Darians, I'm not entirely sure. They've got their own unique weapons. This is the version without a helmet. We've got two versions with. They are each unique, with, different combinations of clothing. Let's see. This one is done by someone in our audience. So Blaster did these, the Aduxer, I think they're called. So my understanding is these are sentient creatures from the Zodani consulate. So it's not their prime world, but these do have human-like intelligence. And they're kind of gnarly critters, which is where Blasted is best at, with unusual aliens that actually look alien. We have our Imperial pilots, or APC pilots. They dub as both. We've got the driving position here, and we've got the version here that is made for sitting in a cockpit. So you can put that into your into a rampart, for example. Then we have our Varga, and I think there might be a scaling issue with these two guys in particular, because Varga are meant to be smaller than humans.
Smaller?
Yep,
Oh.
they are. So I think these guys look like they're almost a tad too large. We'll have to talk to John about that so that we do make sure we get our scaling correct. A part of that could also just be like how they look when they're sort of squat, because they do have those like canine-like legs which are a little shorter. So here, for example, you can see a version where they're a bit lower. This version springing into action, and there's quite a height difference just from moving that leg, for example. So it could partially be like that. But I do feel like these are still a little too big, especially compared to humans. Like, okay, this is a female pilot, but still, if we move it back, you can see there's considerably more body mass going on there. So I think they need to be scaled down. And this is our matriarch. So she's one of the nobles. It took a while to get a sort of feminine read on this model. In the end, it ended up being curving this chest plate, so it's not exactly the same as the art. But you can see she's got all the gnarly scars. And we've got an action pose there with 2 pistols. I don't know if... I think she is some kind of warrior. Oh, there's a bit of intersection there. Let's just move this over a tiny bit. There we go. So yeah, these are coming to your tabletop very soon or already available. Most of them are already available. I think Lieselot said that she got the nobles out today. And I would say any ones that are missing there will get done next week. So there you go. Yeah, these are the miniatures. It's overcompensating for something. Yeah, the warbot. Yeah. I don't know. It's a normal sized gun. It's just attached to a very small body. They do look kind of cool when they're all lined up like that. And one thing to note is, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but we have additional poses. So, John has been talking about the possibility of having an add-on if you guys want the extra poses. Otherwise, we're going to have to choose a few. Like, for example, I think we only promised 3 Vargas in the combat suits. We made 4 poses. The security 2 was only supposed to be 2 guys. There's 4 there. Even like the governor and the noble were originally only supposed to have 1 pose. But it's kind of like if you get a sculptor to work on these things, it's a lot easier to get an additional pose than it is to do something new from scratch. And it kind of seems a waste to, just get 1 miniature, 1 pose, and then we're done. Especially if we're doing them in-house like John doing these ones. So potentially we could have even more in the future without too much effort. And yeah, that's where we're at present with these things. So I'm going to close this mire off. We'll just save that. And we'll go to this one, which is... I don't know if you guys saw off the top of the show. Let me just look up something on the other side. So you don't have to see all my private photos as well, because I took this with my phone. There's nothing too bad on here. It's mostly about... let's see. I've got 1,000 pictures of my dog. But this is the one I'm looking for, if it'll load. Let's see, I think here we go. So this is actually the hallway outside my office. So as you can see here, this is exactly where I'm sitting right now. So you can kind of see my chair. So I sit around this corner. There's my microphone. There's my Benjamin on the stand. It never leaves it. And you can see our wall of ships, or 2 walls of ships actually. This is a rampart here in the foreground. We've got our Beowulf. We've got our original Chimera there. We've got our original Delta, original Beta Centauri. We've got an Erebus painted by Brian Jenkins, as well as a Sleipnir that's behind it, and a Typaz which is hiding. We've got this nice little diorama. You can even see that Zidani. It's a bit hard to make out maybe, but the Zidani APC there. And I put a couple of rocks out, so it's like the Beowulf has landed. We did have some visitors to the office yesterday. And you can also see how tidy my desk is, and my flashing gremlin from Gremlins 2. Oh, and Gridforge! Yay! We hit 21,000 on that. Oh, yeah. Very nice. And Hannes's poster for Megaforce. Which is even in Swedish.
What?
Yeah, the poster's in Swedish.
Oh, I haven't thought about that.
Det står handling,
yes,
inte ord.
I haven't. Avengers did it. What?
Megaforce, den effektivaste armé som världen skapar.
Yeah, that's...
Skådat. Yeah, anyway, yeah, that's what our office looks like. Now, for a long time, we've had this issue where we're running out of room for all our models. The actual office itself, this Albin's desk is just in here. The main door is there. I'm kind of taking a picture from where the dunnies are at. These doors open inwards, which actually, as you can see behind me, is a bit annoying. Maybe I should switch cameras for this one. So, yeah, I'm sitting here. We've got this wall. I can't really use this wall because the door has to go here. So the door's annoying. Not that bad, but still a bit of wasted space. And for a long time I've been like, we make spaceships for a living. Our office should say more than just showing off the models. It should be a little bit more thematic. And one way to save space would be if we had a sliding door here. And I was thinking, what if we built a sort of scene like this? Because we do have our resident marble machine expert in the building as well, who is quite good at advising on CNC machines and whatnot. And we also have Pensionärsleden, which is our neighbor, which is basically a group of pensioners that have a craft space. So they do, woodworking, they do, I don't know if they do pottery, but they do like weaving and that sort of thing, I believe, textiles. Not entirely sure, but John has buttered them up also by taking them cookies all the time. So possibly they would also pitch in to some degree. I don't know what they have available, but I have a crazy idea that we could create some space, and then I could have some shelving behind me to show off some spaceships, when I'm actually talking. So it would be really cool, for example, to just have shelves all the way back here with even more stuff, not just my, Benjamin and masks over there. And all of the models of ships that I just don't have time to assemble at the moment. I've got a couple of Regaults. And, the big one would be the Arcadia. The Miyatake version, which is my favorite. Let's go back to the scene and let's see what people are saying too. Let's see. I still wish that Mongoose was letting you do some more of the common aliens and some of the less common ones. I'm sure they'll get back to it, but it's just a matter of they didn't really know what they wanted to do with this. They want to see what the results are like. I really need to talk to them about what we do this year, but if we do another Mongoose project this year, it won't be until the end of this year. So probably something we do after Persephone. And hopefully, similar to the way that John helped a lot preparing up front, I think Gridforge was great. Yes, there was a bit of an intense period where everyone got sick all of a sudden. But yeah, designing my own doors. Well, this is the thing. So I have actually modeled up my hallway. So my desk is here, I'm sitting here, and we're going to consider what we can build here. So I want to still keep the option for, we have quite a low ceiling because there's like ventilation, it's closed off. So we've got about 213 centimeters to the ceiling. We've got an opening of about 80 centimeters. It's roughly a 7-foot ceiling if you guys are over there, and then like 2.5 feet wide at the door. Did someone say Persephone? I mentioned it, but it's not coming until later in the year. So first we're doing the Aesir fleet. That will be releasing 24th of February, the campaign rather. Persephone looking to do May, June, July, somewhere in that sort of period. Although you never know with a ship that big. I'm hoping we'll do so well with the Aesir series that we can give it a lot of extra time, in which case it might not be until September. But if that's the case, then it will be because we want to do... My ideal scenario is recreating the landing of the Nostromo with Persephone, with a physical model. And that will require having more time than we normally have. More time to get it finished properly, painted properly, ahead of time. The design itself is... It's usually when we run out of runway to do these things. And what I mean by that is just like, we've got a business, it's running, it's also draining money every month, with wages and rent and all of that stuff. You call it a pocket door. So what I don't want to do is modify this office. We're renting this space. I want it to be non-permanent, even though our landlord probably would have an issue with it. It's just that he would probably charge us higher rents to do it. So my idea is to create a sort of frame which has a sliding door, and I may or may not have an interior version as well. So the idea today is that we're going to mock this up. Some kind of concept real quick. So a barn door, I mean the sliding, I think we'd probably have it sliding from the ceiling. So we would build an exterior frame. So let's just start modeling up this before anything else. So I'm going to drop, oh that's really hard for you guys to see, let's see. This blue on black isn't reading very well, is it? So, and that's even worse. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Black doesn't work. Let's, I think a part of the issue is this grid. So let's change the colors of the grid. I don't like doing it, but hey, for you guys, we can, whoa, that didn't get better. Let's try something like this. And then if we change the background again, still not coming out very well. I'm sorry guys, we'll see. I think maybe the easier thing will be to change the size of the grid so it's a bit more readable. Let's get that back to there, that back to there. So you can see our models up there. I'll try and, what I could actually do maybe is just turn off the floor. There we go, that's a bit more clear, right? Because I definitely need those units up. So I've got my door frame here, and my plan would be to do something like this. So let me just create what I'm thinking more or less. So we would need to go to about there and then about there. So we create like a frame that can sit on the top. That might come out like, maybe not quite that much. Come down there. Whoops, went the wrong way with that one. There we go, we can extend this out here. Then we need a place for a door to go. So I apologize today if this is hard to read, but we work with what we've got. So the idea being that we create some kind of box that can sit over the top of the wall here and give us more of a science fiction frame to it. And then Hannes can still have his picture on the outside if he wants to keep it. And we would have, let's just get this cut up a little bit. Oops. Where's our frame? Our frame is here. Our frame is there. And we need a spot for the door. So we would have like, that's odd. You'd have a spot for the door in there. I don't know why that didn't go the whole way through. It usually would. But we can do this. We'll just recreate all of the lower part. So let's come down here. Go one more time. Something like that. And then we would have like a gap here so that we can have the door inside with its own sort of frame extension. And then this would just extend in behind this sort of like paneling. So we'd create a barn door that can slide the door to the side but gives us a bit of a sci-fi look. Already looped back to Poe. Yeah, I don't know if we'll print it. I think this is more a job for CNC, but so first of all, welcome, Liger. Here is my office hallway. This is the computer I'm sitting at now. We need more storage because behind my chair, the door opens inward, wastes a lot of space. I want to put some shelving up behind me for more storage, more stuff too that people can see on stream. And it would be really cool to just put in a sliding door instead and just have this as an installation where we can basically just remove the door without hurting anything about this leased office space. So we're not permanently changing anything, but we're adding a cool sci-fi aesthetic. So yes, it will be a barn door, and we would need maybe an extra little bit that we want to come in here so that we can get a seal going on the door. And then the other thing I was considering is if we should have a second door here. So I have no idea if we could mechanically hook it up. It would be really cool if we could mechanically hook it up so that it actually has some bells and whistles to go with it. Although that might be a phase 2 sort of thing. So today we've got just a silly stream where I can explore this idea. Let's make us a door. And this would be a real adventure for me because I am not a carpenter. I know very little about carpentry. I think we probably even want the door a bit longer than this. Maybe not that long, just so that there's a bit more of a gap. And if we center the pivot there, we should be able to move that up just a tad. And let's extrude upwards. And then technically, the idea is that we're opening a door like so. Let's just get this to be a different color, so we can easily see it opening and closing. But this would be the chief idea of it. Then what we actually build around it is another question, as well as how far out we come, because there is some potential to keep the door relatively narrow, but because 80 centimeters is still quite decent, but even if it was 70, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Yeah, we do need a sound, but the ksh is not the sound we need. It's more like the Nostromo alarm. Will it be automatic? I don't know. How do I make an automatic barn door? I don't know. If I can do it relatively cheaply, I would be inclined to do it. And I'm not even saying this will happen. We kind of have to wait and see if our company was profitable last year or not. But one can dream, and I thought this would make for an interesting sort of exercise. See, the other option is that we move our models a little bit in, make it a little bit more cramped maybe, but this would give us the opportunity to block this off a little bit more. And what I mean by that is we can bring this all the way out and maybe even make this quite considerably deeper than it currently is. So for example, we don't need all of this room, but we could create more storage. That might be too far. But it would be really cool to have some LED lights to have, because again, this is, I don't know if this is, no, this is not the Nostromo, this is the Apollo core, but it's almost identical to the computer system in the Mother. So if you remember, in the Nostromo, rather. So if you remember when Captain Dallas was accessing Mother, there's this little keyhole style corridor there with all of those sort of like punch cards in the hallway. And what I'm thinking of is this frame in particular. I don't have great references. I kind of went through my screenshots of Alien Isolation looking for the best, or the other thing I might consider is something more like this. But again, it's a similar sort of aesthetic. So there's a couple of different options here that we might try, but it does have to be quite a small door. So I'm thinking, I think that's all we've got. It would be one thing to build an iris, but I don't think we've got enough room for that. But we could do like some features here, so that would be cool. Anyway, I'm thinking something kind of this sort of keyhole coffin shape or other shape. Hey, John's here. Oh, your barn door is open and your penis is showing. Okay, anyway, I see the chat is enjoying this, or at least the puns. The moment you leave, I will constantly go in and out of that door just to spite you. That's where I'm going to biometrically lock it, so that, John, you can't use this door anymore. We depending on how expensive it is, we might put them on both our doors, because it would actually create even more space. The other door is also an issue. So I could potentially move my desk a bit further forward, for example. We're talking about different ways we could rearrange things. But not steal my light like John would. John wants me to basically put bookshelves around my desk so I create a barrier. And then that's the only way in, but there's no natural light. Anyway, with Benjamin and sculptures. Yeah, exactly. So how do we get this? I think we need to start dividing this up a little bit. And we should probably also save out some copies before we iterate too much, just so that we could kind of go back. But the idea being that you have this rough shape for a housing where you can fit in a barn door, I guess that's what it's called, where you would have an attachment to the ceiling and the door would just slide from left to right. And whether or not we could automate that, I don't know. We could potentially also build some shelving into this thing, maybe some lighting. There's only one way to get power, and it's on the other side of this door, but maybe we can cheat somehow. I don't know. A barn door attaches to the wall, just to clarify. I thought it had a runner at the top. So, the thumbnail deceived me. I wasn't expecting extreme hypothetical office makeover, but I'm not disappointed. John, I don't know what the terminology is. That's just what someone else suggested. The runner is not on the wall? No, not on the ceiling, but on the top of the frame it would be. Not on the floor. Anyway, guys, I don't, like I said, I'm not a carpenter. I don't know these details, but I'm thinking we do kind of want to get that Nostromo look. So let's just see what this might look like with a bit of modifications to the frame, not necessarily the door itself. So if we move these in, we would be restricting the lower section to about 60 centimeters. So maybe this is a bit too extreme. And this will be a tight hallway too, so I don't know if we need to lower the height a tiny bit. It does feel a lot larger on the outside. So here we've got this sort of like sharper curve at the top.
John wants you to look at the link.
This is all just about correcting me. I don't want to see the link. What? How's that not? Oh, okay, it's attached to the wall, but yeah, in this case we're building a frame, so it will be attached to the frame. Good job, John. Can you now find me one that you can get to electronically open, please? With an electronic biometric lock. I'm looking at that on my other screen. I don't want to show you guys Amazon. So let's see what we can do about this shape here as well. So I'm going to go about halfway, something like that. And oh, that didn't actually work out. So let's try this from this angle. I think the ship was confusing it. I get confused by ships too. Mostly because I've made so many. So the beauty of the sliding door is we can get those sci-fi features in, which I really, really want. I really want it. I want people to come to this office and say, okay, yeah, this dude makes spaceships. So we could have some like LED lighting in the sides here. A punch card, button connector or something, I don't know. Let's see, the other problem with following that link is I lost my chat. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Powered sliding doors seem to be about £2,000. Yeah, I think I would prefer to make the sounds myself. But you never know what John finds. So let's look at our reference again. It does end up quite low down, this sort of keyhole. So I think we're at about the right level, but if we made it so it was exactly where our shelving starts, it might look like a more natural sort of proportion. It's still maybe a little bit more narrow than I would prefer. One option too is that we make the frame appear larger. Because this is the thing. The frame, you could have the door opening only to here to let you through. Like no further than where the actual frame is. But it'd still be a bit further over. Because that door can cover what remains. $370. Well, that's not insurmountable. I mean, I imagine the wood alone is going to cost a lot more than that. Yes, I could spring for £2,000 after the Aesir nets as $1 million. I sadly feel like we might be chasing that $1 million for another while. In any case, I almost want to come out further, but I don't want to come out too far either. So let's just assume Hannes gives up this wall space. He moves his Megaforce poster to the opposite wall, and we can have this entire stretch just because it is cool. Let's see. Anders has a good idea. Build the whole wall piece and build in the shelves to the frame you're creating. You mean like all along here? The thing is, this hallway is very narrow. It's only 2 meters wide, and we already had ships opposite here. So I don't want to steal too much space from everyone else. Although it would be kind of cool. Let's iterate again. So what, if I understand correctly, the suggestion is to do something like this. To come out to where this is at. Is that more it? And then sort of integrate the shelving so that you could potentially, for example, block this in. Whoa, what did I do? So it's like kind of built in. Let me see if I can scroll up. Remove the current shelf and model it into the new wall. Yeah. Thanks, Doug, for dropping that into our Discord. If you want to join our Discord, follow the link below. And if you, if you want to support us, you can always like and follow our stream, for example. Channel, I guess. Let's delete these. It's not what we wanted. So yeah, we just have this rough frame going on, and yeah, I think we could widen this just a tad. Now I just need to convince everyone in the office that they need to sacrifice the doorway of everything in the hall, so this will look better. So we move this back across. That wasn't exactly spot on, I don't think. There we go. I mean, it would look kind of cool, and you could build some lighting into this thing. It will limit how much space we can actually have, though. Rate the video 5 stars. Let's see. You can have shelving on the right and middle and left side as one giant piece. The shelves are less deep, but more of them. Yeah, possibly. Or I think we could also do something where yeah, there are options. Anyway, that's the important thing. Or that now that shelving will be freed up, we can move it to the other wall and have even more shelving. I'm not sure my workmates will agree to all of that, but certainly on this opposite side we could have more shelving than what we currently have, and this probably could also come out a bit more. Let's see, will this ruin the top? Not really. What if we did something like that and something like that? I think that's 45 degrees. And then you could have some additional shelving in here. Or some other cool features like, I don't know, some fake piping or something to make it look extra sci-fi. There's lots of different iterations you could do. Although sadly, I do not quite have Martin's following of engineers. Oh, because we're not 3D printing, we don't have to worry about these angles, which is nice for a change. Yeah, and then you could have just additional shelving in here. So even if we just grabbed that, move it over there, it wouldn't be quite as wide. Though we could probably make this a bit deeper. That door doesn't need much more than that. So maybe we just have a, maybe we create a frame here somewhere. Like so, and we could go back another little bit. And why not, we should be able to also shape this. So we've got our corner. And then we go up again. So yeah, this is definitely different today than what it was. Hey, it actually ended up on the exact same plane. And that way you can have even more spaceships. Which solves a big problem of not having enough room for spaceships. Let's see. Padded lower wall sections, left out converting all the floors to Gridforge. We totally could add floor decals. I don't know if Mikael would agree with that. But we could certainly put, like, maybe we can get, I'm sure there's some kind of service where you can get custom carpets made. You could just put one with like a warning stripe on it. If the ceiling has the panels, does that make it Gridforge? I think we're going to need a bigger printer. Semiotics required. What's the symbol for boss door? Oh, that's easy. We put bridge on top, right? So let's actually open another copy of Maya so we can steal our semiotic for bridge. That's also a reason why maybe the door frame needs to be slightly lower. But hey, Captain Global had to duck down to get onto the bridge of the Macross, right? So remember the British guy that spent a fortune turning his rented flat into the Enterprise and then his lease expired?
Nay.
That's just stupid.
Oh fuck, that sucks.
Kind of reminds me of that other dude that's building an Enterprise model and it's like 1:16 or something stupid like that. So what do we want? We want to go to our resources folder and we want to open our semiotics collection, if we have one. I think we do. Let's see, catalog, semiotics, and symbols. There we go. Let's open this up and see what we can steal from. So I want to use the wrong Korp semiotic, and the bridge symbol is this one. So I'm going to copy that. Obviously this would just be flat, but I just want it in our scene, and then obviously this is at a completely different scale. But how big would it be in real life? Maybe 20 by 20. So let's see what we need to get it to 20 by 20. Currently, it is very tiny. So if we move this here,
You know what you can do?
What?
Control T, and you can just type in the size you want.
Where?
So you see the numbers. If you click the numbers, that are
I don't see. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, in the 3D view.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that should be 20. It disappeared.
Yeah, it needs to recenter. It's a bit buggy, but
It needs to recenter all over the place, apparently. But yes, that'll do it. So let's delete the history of this thing. And move it into place. And maybe we could get away with something a bit smaller. That does kind of feel like it's very big. Whoa, okay, what's going on here? When I rotate it, I deleted the history. I don't understand.
what? Is it in a group that's scaled maybe?
Oh, maybe, yeah, right. Sorry, double transformation.
Sweet.
Lucky we have an Elven.
Sometimes you actually have a useful outfit.
So we can see this is way too big, but it would need to be above or just to the side. I'm not sure which. So I would say we want this to be... Well, now that we know its size so that we can actually size this down to... let's freeze the transformations and we can go to 0.75. And that should get us to 15 centimeters. So let's see where we are at. Move that up there, and then if we sacrifice a bit of headroom, and I don't need it because I'm only 178, and I don't think there's anyone really in our office that would bump heads on this thing.
Martin?
Martin's not 7 feet tall. So if we brought that down to about there, we're only losing about 6 centimeters. I don't think anyone's going to cry over losing 6 centimeters of height from the ceiling. Just drop that down there. There we go. And actually that kind of makes our door look a lot more proportional. Let's see, what are people saying? Bren Mayhew says, first live stream I make and it's about making a sci-fi door for an office. Cantina hour. Sorry, yeah. But welcome. Welcome indeed. I suggest you make some ceiling panels, but Second Dynasty doesn't do anything on the ceiling. Ceiling panels look great in real life. On tabletop, it's kind of redundant, I would say. So we've got our little semiotic there. Let's bring it back to the wall. Just a little. It doesn't actually need to be 3D. And then the thing is, like, you could put one door here, and you could put another door here, and you could make it do. Let's have a flash course in animation. Press S.
This is Maya, it's not Flash.
Haha.
Doesn't even
S
exist.
and something like that. S. There we go. We've made a tiny little animation, but imagine if you had doors like this. Yeah, that feels like Star Trek. Still a bit claustrophobic, but still. I kind of like the idea of it, even if it's a bit silly. Mr. Trek's Enterprise is 40 foot long. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Shogel. Like, although I think he's planning to build a museum or something. John is 185, but I think Mr. Marble is taller. What? Is Martin taller? I don't know. In any case, what are we talking about here? A, John, it's okay if you hit your head because you should not be using this door. On top of that, I'm pretty sure we had 2.13 meters to the ceiling, so I think you're all good. And this is what I'm talking about. Let's go to, we're going to have to wrap things up in a little bit because I do need to make some updates before I leave. So let's go to the measuring tool. Where did it go? I'm blind today because I'm in the wrong tool. Distance tool. Let's go from the base to the top, and yeah, that's 196. So I don't think there's anyone in the office that's going to have an issue with that. Maya crashes as much as Flash, so the confusion is warranted. You need to convert CM to ALN for proper Swedish measurements. What? ALN?
That's an arm. Or arm. Body measurement to use the arm to measure stuff instead.
Oh, is this from antiquity?
Yeah.
Well, there you go, John. In addition to being a polyglot, you have a better grasp of Swedish history than I do, apparently. See, we've got something rough going on here. I don't know if this will ever come to pass. It would be really cool if we could build something like this. obviously it needs a bit more work. It also needs to be discussed and needs to be built in such a way that if we do get kicked out, like aforementioned Star Trek dude, we can easily break this down and maybe possibly reuse it.
Oh yeah.
Shogal's got the grasp of history, not John. Oh wait, did I misread who it was from? If Shadow Liger visits, he's 6'3". I love it how you talk about yourself in the third person, but I mean, tigers and ligers are quite large. 59.38 centimeters as defined by King Cold the 9th, sorry. 1604, yes, Riederholm Salnen. Okay.
That's one of the kings I've barely heard anything about.
Yeah, because Swedes only really know Gustav Vasa.
Yeah.
And then, what is it?
Called the 12th and the 11th.
11th and 12th were the most popular because that was Högmaktstiden. When Sweden was a superpower. I know, it sounds crazy. Anyway, we're going to leave things at this, I think, for now. I still need to do some door work. I don't know if I'll ever show this off again. Because it was just one of those silly projects. It's like, oh, what am I going to show you guys this week? I mean, you did get to see, and I'll show this again one last time. Let me switch cameras to the close-up. So we did get to see the awesome new Korpen, which, you know, I'm very pleased with how this came out and that it's going to be an official traveler ship for the Sword Worlds. I don't know how they're going to argue for the fact that it has the exact same role as Gripen, but that being that it has this massive torpedo on the bottom, and of course, being our design, you can actually take the torpedo off and fire it. And of course, you could easily switch out those weapons for many of our other arms. Out now. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me this week. We'll be back next week for episode 4 of 2025. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you feel that way inclined. Apparently, it's supposed to help our channel grow or something like that. But we have a great community going on in the Discord, link below. Also, if you want to follow the Aesir Fleet campaign, link below. See you guys next week. Bye.